I've got a special deal for you today. 2 book reviews for the price of 1. So in this video, I'm going to be reviewing 2 novellas, both by the same author, Algernon Blackwood. I'm going to be talking about 2 of his most famous stories, The Wendigo and The Willows. So Algernon Blackwood is one of the great names in horror fiction, both literally and figuratively. I honestly can't say how popular he is in the mainstream public, as I've only heard of him just a few months ago myself. But he is one of the notable names in classic horror literature, influencing names such as H.P. Lovecraft and others. So Blackwood was an English writer and journalist who was alive during the late 1800s and early 1900s. He published a set of novels and also a good number of short stories and novellas, mostly in collections. And today I'm talking about 2 of his more notable works, which are pretty similar in subject matter and tone. So I think it's fair enough to group them both together. So what are these stories about? The first one is The Willows. It's about 2 men canoeing down the Danube River, and they find themselves lost in a weird stretch of land. They encounter some eerie things, and they also begin feeling a heavy sense of dread and just an overall feeling of that they don't belong in this place. It's a very atmospheric kind of a thriller. Similarly, The Wendigo is about a moose hunting group that travels into Ontario, Canada, into the cold wilderness. There was, I believe, 4 originally in the group, and they split off into pairs. And so the main group that we're following, one of the characters begins acting very strangely, very morose, and then the other hunter is trying to keep things together. And so then some other weird stuff happens, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to mention a whole lot more than that. But those are the basic gists of both stories. But already I'm sure you're noticing some common elements. The wilderness, sense of unease, just an amorphous cosmic kind of horror, vaguely supernatural, lots of themes of isolation and nature, and maybe even man's place in nature, who knows. So what do I like about these 2 stories and overall Blackwood's writing in general? I'd say his writing is very nice. He has beautiful prose, and it's also very easy to get into. Written in such a long time ago, it can be kind of a toss-up if it's more of a thicker kind of read or something that you can parse easily. I'd say Blackwood is very easy to understand, very easy to get through, very pleasant to read. Lots of beautiful descriptions. He very much constructs a scenery that is both ominous and eerie, and also very simple at the same time. You won't see a lot of very odd things in place. It's a lot of natural things that come together that make up his landscapes. But the feelings of tension and dread and all kinds of scary things will no doubt be easily conjured when you're reading one of his stories. And the overall antagonist or the monster of the story is very loosely defined, if at all. It's not really mentioned too much. It isn't really focused on, I'd say. So it's a testament that his stories will be as bone-chilling as they are. The structure of his stories is also very basic. The writing is very fluid. It's not overly stuffed with lots of unnecessary details or backtracking between different points of view or different time periods. It's very simple, straightforward, easy to understand, very to the point. But it does keep your attention. You won't be tuning out very much during his stories, which I cannot say for other authors at the time. Characters here are very loosely defined. You don't get a lot of backstory or anything for them, but they are fleshed out just enough so you can understand them. You can channel what they're feeling. I think they're developed well enough to be understood. I'm sure if his stories were longer, they were full-length novels, you might want to have some more character development, but that's not really necessary in these stories, which are, I believe they're both under 100 pages each. And so the flow of the story and the resolution of the stories are all very natural, and as natural as you can be for a story of this kind. It's all very plausible, very logical conclusions that are made. There's not a lot of twists and turns, not a lot of odd things popping up. So what did I not like about both of these stories? I mean, again, I can't really add much here. I guess you could mention the length, and in general, they're very shallow in terms of books, and meaning that they're not overly complex or overly detail-oriented. They're very short, very to the point. So I guess you could count that as a negative if you want. If you're looking for something longer and more complex, then this might not be what you're looking for. As they are brief, but they are brief for a purpose. I think the overall simplicity of the books are not a detriment. I think they are the length that they are for a reason. And if they had gotten much longer, then the spirit of the story would have been lost, I believe. And it would have turned more into a more modern monster thriller. And as it is, there's not a lot of action or gore included in these stories. So if you're looking for something with a lot of edge to it, again, this might not be the book that you're looking for. So how would I rate these stories? Well, it's hard to rate two different novellas in one rating. But if I had to lump them together and average the two out, I'd say a 4 out of 5 would be about right. They're perfect for what they are. They're too short to be, really outstanding. It's hard to give a short story a perfect rating, I think, unless it does a lot of different things. It really goes all out. But I did like them. I really enjoy Blackwood's writing style. Very easy to read, very enjoyable to read. I'd say his writing is maybe even more accessible than Poe or Lovecraft. So if you do like either of those two authors or other classic horror, you should check out Algernon Blackwood. The ones I would recommend at this time would be the Willows and the Wendigo. I know there are some more others that he has written. I haven't read anything else, but I am looking to try some more. So if you like shorter stories, you'll really enjoy these as they are very short. If you enjoy modern fiction but want to get back to the roots of classic horror, this is a great place to start. Yeah, like I said, it's very accessible, very easy to get into, and I think you'd enjoy it. So yeah, go ahead and give him a read if you want. So that's all I have for today though. Thanks for watching, and as I said, both of these are pretty short, but for the purposes of them, they are. But for what the hell am I talking about? Do something good with your pizza.